It's house up, it's right over the block. It is.
Okay.
Oh, I can't see that.
I'd like to call the Munster Town Council Monday, July 17th regular meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Counselor Stewart. Counselor Mellon. Present. Counselor Tulowitzki.
Present.
Counselor Kulturitis. Counselor Gardner.
Present.
We have a quorum.
If we could all rise for a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I'd like to read the National Night Out Proclamation for 2023. Whereas the Munster Police Department and Choice Community Council of Munster are sponsoring a unique drug and violence prevention program on August 1st, 2023, entitled National Night Out Against Crime Celebration. And whereas Munster 28th Annual National Night Out Against Crime Celebration provides a unique opportunity for Munster residents, businesses, schools, and community organizations to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of Munster be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Munster. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. Now, therefore, we, the Munster Town Council, do hereby call upon citizens of Munster to join the Munster Police Department, Choice Community Council of Munster, Munster's businesses, schools, and community service organizations, and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting Munster's 28th Annual National Night Out Against Crime Celebration on August 1st, 2023. Further, let it be resolved that we, the Munster Town Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 1st, 2023, as the National Night Out Against Crime Celebration, Munster, Indiana.
I'm going to be adopt the proclamation as presented.
I second the motion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Then hereby this proclamation is passed by a vote of 3 in favor, 0 opposed, by the Town Council of Munster, Indiana, Lake County, Indiana. Therefore, then we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is just a grant award announcement. That the fire department has been awarded a $10,000 newborn safety device grant program or device grant from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. Fire Chief, I have anything else to add to that?
No, not really. Just one note. All fire departments and police stations are safe havens for babies, with our fire stations being not manned. And we went after this grant. What this also does is give the people a little privacy to do that, because they do not have to leave their name, phone number. Box has got an alarm in it. We'll be responding to that alarm, and fourth, if we ever have to use it, hopefully we don't have to use it.
Thank you, Chief. Very good. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to public comment. We kindly ask that all in-person public comment is limited to 2 minutes maximum per person, or 5 minutes per group spokesman. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to public policy issues. In the event that questions are posed to the council, we will note your questions in the meeting minutes and will refer these questions to the appropriate department or staff for follow-up and response. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council during the public comment section? Yes, just come up to the podium, please, and state your name and address.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rick Spindler, Spindler. My address is 8046 Holman Avenue, Munster, Indiana, 46321. I would like to present a document that I forwarded to the town manager last week, along with a FOIA request. I've got one copy for the town council, and you can read it at your leisure. However, it is regarding the 50/50 sidewalk replacement program, and my desire to learn what's transpired from the initiation of the RFP. For those that may not know what that is, it's request for proposal up for public bid, through the viewing and or copying of all bid proposals, addendums, qualifications, clarifications, exclusions, alternates, etc., etc. I would also like to ask a question before I hand this to you. I'd like to know if anyone here can address the following. What would be the disciplinarian actions for a Munster police officer intentionally falsifying a police report and associated affidavit? If someone's got the answer, I'd like to hear it. If you can look it up, that'd be fine. But I'd like for someone to please advise me in writing once you determine what that disciplinarian action should be. Any questions?
Thank you for your comments, and
May I
that is one question that we will refer to appropriate departments. Right?
I think this one.
Thank you.
Let me get Mr. Spindler.
Just one second, Mr. Spindler, we do have a question for you.
And with regard to your last question, may need you to fill in some of the blanks of your hypothetical a little bit. So, do we have in the stuff you've handed to the clerk treasurer, is there a phone number or email address?
Email now to help with the FOIA, and then,
So we can, that'll help with the hypothetical too. Okay,
if you put your email address on there, that'd be great. That way it's easier.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak during the public comment section of the meeting? Thank you very much, and we will close that portion of the meeting. We'll move into the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. There is a motion, a second. Is there any discussion or comments or questions with regard to the consent agenda? Seeing none. Okay. We have a roll call on the consent agenda, please. It was made a motion by Councilor Mellon, seconded by Councilor Tulowitzki. Yeah.
Yes. Counselor Mellon,
Yes.
Counselor Tulowitzki.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes.
3-0.
Okay. There is no old business. We'll move into new business. There is a request from Attorney David Wicklund with regards to hourly rates.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we approve the requested hourly rate of $205 per hour by our attorney, Mr. David Whitman.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any discussion?
Conforming with that decision.
That's correct. Very good. See no other discussion or questions. Roll call, please.
Counselor Mellon.
Yes.
Counselor Tulowitzki.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes. Next on the agenda is phase 1 development agreement with Kenmara. I would ask Mr. Gary Warfel to come forward to kind of give a little bit of background. What is the phase 1A development portion of this portion? Give a little bit of background.
Okay, this is Lon. First off, thanks for taking your time. I appreciate it, and it's nice to be here. It's been a project that's we've been working on pretty hard for a long time. The best way to, I think, just introduce the project briefly is that if you take our development plan, which was filed in 2022 last year, and then you overlay the current zoning for the site, CD4B, that pretty well explains what the project looks like in its entirety. Phase 1 is all off-site infrastructure. That means roads, utilities, sewers, water, anything that is going to be required to activate the site. We've talked about phase one for some time, and within the last several months, we've decided to bifurcate phase 1A from 1B in terms of the development agreement. And the reason we did that is I think we all feel it's a little easier to break it apart because it is a large project. It's a complex project. Phase 1A essentially is, in both phases, are do nothing more than accomplish access into the site and connectivity from the site to other sites in the town. Phase 1A specifically, as you can see on this graphic, is the extension of Fisher Street West, then crossing the NIPSCO right-of-way down into the site. And that also involves a reconfiguration of Timbrick Drive into Manor to alleviate any kind of traffic congestion problems at Fisher and Manor. So that's really the extent. It also includes connectivity of greenways west to the site. It includes some open space, increases in open space to Evergreen Park, which you see here. We take it from 0.61 acres as it is today to 1.16 acres, I believe. So that is really and the reason we took 1A separate is it's the site, as I've mentioned before, it's zoned CD4B. The challenge is there's no access to the site. So phase 1A starts that initial access, enables people to see the site, enables a way to activate the marketing for the site so that we have a better idea as to where we settle in on uses and tenancy. So I think it's really good for everyone. What we would like to do is after the phase 1A is underway, we would like to start discussions on what we call future phases, which is phase 1B, phase 2, and phase 3. So we don't want to lose sight of that. We also decided to take all of the risk for phase 1A. We're not asking for any funding from the town. We're not asking for any TIF. We've simply decided that this will be the best way to get the project moving and to show good faith effort in terms of what this comprehensive development will look like. Since we've done the planning for 1A and 1B, Baker Tilly did an economic impact analysis for the site, which is quite substantial. I mean, the funding that comes in over the next 30 years to the town exceeds $10 million, the school district, $15 million, state of Indiana, $224 million. The total net present value, or the total value is about $320 million that the project brings in terms of economic development. Net present value, Baker Tilly shows at about $143 million today. So substantial project. We've been very patient. We want to do the right thing here. We think that with the greenway connectivity, open space, this site effectively gets tied to Centennial Park, Maple Leaf Village, Ridge Road, and it generates one of the most walkable, greenest environments, we think, in the Midwest, certainly in the state of Indiana. And I should also mention that through assistance from Aberdeen, we were successful in getting Ready Grant from the state of Indiana Economic Development Corp for the project. So that essentially helps all of us.
Very good. Thanks, Gary, for your the short introduction. We might have some questions for you a little bit later. I would like to ask our attorney, Dave Westland, any additional feedback or information with regard to the development agreement that's before us?
No, I think it's important to note, and Gary pointed out, that, the conversation with regard to the development of this site has been ongoing for a few years with this particular developer. And if I go back even further, this is the first development, I think, that how to do realistic chance at serious economic. There are enormous challenges with the site that this developer has done. They're not done by stretch, but reasons that. Such a large project. And the first item, as Gary mentioned, was, you know, you got to say you have to have access to the site. And so that's why you have to file an agreement for you, which is the incentive, the primary incentive is to allow them to apply and receive this ready grant. Again, it's specified in section 2 of the development agreement. Then at that point, once the site's open, they market it, bring in more tangible one that is ready to roll in terms of specific development. Then the town can consider the amount, if any. This document does that, and I think
Thanks for that background information. At this time, I think we can certainly maybe, we entertain a motion to accept the development agreement. Then if we have other questions, we can certainly ask Gary to come forward. We could ask additional questions.
Mr. President, I move to approve the Kenmore Phase 1A development agreement between Saxon Partners, Indiana and the town.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. There's a motion, a second. Are there any questions that we have or additional information the council is looking for?
Don't have any questions. I would just state for the benefit of those either zooming in tonight or in the audience that Mr. Warkle has worked very much with the residents in the surrounding area, and there was a lot of thought and time put in to expanding Evergreen Park. I don't know how many times you went in front of the park board as well, but it's been a collaborative effort. I think they've put forth a good effort to benefit everybody in the area.
Very good. Thank you.
Just have one question for clarification. I think I've seen this from Mr. Warkle and you speak about it. The projects that were acquired as part of this development have been used for various policeman fire safety training procedures. Those are to be removed as part of phase 1.
As soon as possible. They're taking on a little water, so we'd like to get those down. We'd like to file permits for those. We bid them. We're ready to award. We're ready to file for permit. But we'd like to make that the first step. Yeah.
Okay. I think that, residents would appreciate that.
Yeah, but I realize they're starting to become a little bit of a nuisance. So we would like to clear those.
Well, it's nice to have the first step also with the configuration of the roadway there and then given for many iterations to find the right solution that respects the residents. For phase 1, or for future phases, 1B, 2, and 3 is when we will have the next development agreement where we talk about financial risk sharing incentives. Do you have any idea for a timeline once this is approved when you're ready for those conversations?
Great question. I would just say we'd like to start those discussions sooner versus later because the viability of this project is really going to rely on tax increment funding. The increment on this project is tremendous. I think today the tax spinoff of this 59 acres is $30,000 a year. When we are stabilized, we spend about 3.8 million. So it's a substantial increment, and if we can work together to figure out the best way to craft the TIF, and possibly a pilot, we definitely want to do that because that's probably the most important part of this project.
You shared some numbers before that were helpful from those big utility results. The 3.8 million steady state tax increment expecting from them.
Yes.
This may not be a question for you, but do you have an estimate of how much of that goes to the town, to the school town?
I do. No, I don't know if the Baker Tilly report was issued in final. It still might be in draft.
I could just I think the Baker Tilly report has been received in a draft.
Yeah, I think so.
And our town manager, along with other staff, has reviewed it, and they've asked, along with our attorney, asked for some change to be made. So the Baker Tilly report is not a finalized report yet. I believe that's why the council hasn't seen it in its entirety.
Yeah, but once final, it's clear, they did a fairly extensive job of delineating, all of the benefit.
Yeah, I'm just trying to characterize for people listening and following the benefit that comes to the town from this type of.
I did say the draft to the town was over 10 million, the school district was over 15 million.
Yeah, is that a cumulative or?
It's over a 30-year period, which, we'll probably want to have that period to be commensurate with the fifth period. So, I mean, I think all of those things need to get worked out, but there's some fairly substantial benefit. And
There's also a great benefit of getting access to the site and who's going to buy. Even though.
yeah, I will bet most of the people in this room haven't really seen the site because you can't see it from Munster. You have to make your way. And now if you've golfed that site, you've seen it before, but it's really hard to visualize even when you're standing in the corner of Manor, Fisher, and Timber. You can't see it.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. And I would just like to echo the comments of Councilor Mellon and Councilor Tulowitzki, the hard work and the dedication and the commitment to making sure the questions are answered with the town. I do appreciate all the efforts of you and your team.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Counselor Mellon,
Yes.
Counselor Tulowitzki.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes. Moving on to the Ridge Road Water Tower reconditioning change order request. Deputy Town Manager, DiTomaso, anything to add to the memo?
No, I have nothing to add to the memo.
Mr. President, I would move to approve change order number 1 for total cost.
Motion.
There's a motion, a second, any discussion?
Glad that we're using the water rate increases to maintain our towers and usually good opportunities to send a message and
Very good. Seeing no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Counselor Mellon,
Yes.
Counselor Tulowitzki.
Yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes. Moving along to paving and water main improvements for the CCMG 23-1 project.
Counselor Gardner, can you just ask for one of the two? There's two proposals in there. There's the overflow change proposal as well as the logo. And when he did his motion, he said to number 1.
These two changes up to the contract are incorporated in the proposed change order number 1. Did I have that correct?
Is there a second proposal as well, or
I combined them into one. Though they have two separate forms, but when we put it all together, we're gonna put it,
I think
the
Councilor Tulowitzki used 14,401.
Yes. It was the-
Okay.
And that should be the cumulative value.
Very good.
Okay. Is that
All
okay?
right, yes.
Okay.
Yes. We can move on to CCMG.
Very good. Then we move on to CCMG 23-1. Anything to add?
No.
No, nothing to add. This is for the street projects. For Azalea Thicket, Pasture Gate, Hammer, Treadway, Tudor, and Franlin.
Mr. President, I'll make the motion to award Milestone Contractors North Inc. the contract for the paving and water main improvements on Azalea Thicket, Pasture Gate, Tamarack, Treadway, Tudor, and Franlin, which is CCMG 23-1 at the bid price of $2,966,562.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Counselor Mellon,
Yes.
Counselor Tulowitzki,
Oh, yes.
Counselor Gardner.
Yes. Okay. Item E, on-call planning services. There's a memo from Deputy Town Manager DiTomaso in the board packet with a recommendation. Anything to add?
It's just that we're working the kinks out, and I think we've got a really good system going with Rachel, and so and we are going to need her for a little bit longer, so we're hoping that you'll approve this amendment.
Mr. President, I move to authorize the town manager to execute amendment 1 of the agreement between HWC Engineering and Town Council.
I will second the motion.
There's a motion, a second, in discussion, the questions.
Oh, I just have one, are we in the process, like, have we gotten very far in the process of hiring the director? Just wondering, because while it is working out, obviously it's optimal to have someone who's.
We have identified someone and an offer was made, and I think it's in negotiations right now.
My only comment would be that Ms. Christensen, as a member of the Plan Commission, she's done a remarkable job of giving us some questions that really make the applicant in the Planning Commission think and result in some minor but important changes to the proposed. I think about the problem.
Very good. Roll call, please.
Councilor Mellon,
Yes.
Councilor Tulowitzki,
Yes.
Councilor Gardner.
Yes. Moving along to item F, ordinance 1908. This is the Maple Leaf Crossing PUD amendment. This is also information coming from the Plan Commission, but Deputy Town Manager, would you like to add anything or give some background?
So Maple Leaf Crossing came before the Plan Commission to request an amendment to their planned unit development. It's changing a little bit in the back northwest corner of the site with the parking and the landscaping. And they also played with the lot lines a little bit. So the Plan Commission heard this at a preliminary hearing, followed by a public hearing, and then made a favorable recommendation to bring it to you to approve the amendment. And there's a lot of attachments in your packet that relate to this, and I can try to answer any questions if you've got them.
Very good. So the motion to consider is for ordinance 1908, which is the PUD amendment for Maple Leaf Crossing.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt ordinance number 1908 and set it for us. This takes a second.
We only do one.
Well, because it came from that. That we have ordinance 19 and we can see it.
Second.
Okay, very good. There's a motion, a second for ordinance 1908, which is the Maple Leaf Crossing PUD amendment. Anything to add or any questions?
Mr. President, I'll say, as mentioned in the last comments on the last item, this is one area where Ms. Christensen helped identify some inconsistencies, and there were a number of conditions, I think 28% conditions, and a number of those were the original proposal kind of put this area, which is behind the hotel in the proposed development, in the slightly different, held to slightly different standards in terms of landscaping, and part of that was as much employee parking, and so we made sure as a Plan Commission to ensure that landscaping is put in at the appropriate time. Number of items like that. There's a lot of attachments, there's a lot of discussion.
Good. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilor Mellon,
Yes.
Councilor Tulowitzki,
Yes.
Councilor Gardner.
Yes. Moving along to ordinance 1909, additional appropriations. Number 2.
This is our second ask for additional appropriations in 2023. And as part of the budget process, we take a look at all the funds, and we found that there are 4 that need additional funds, authority to spend. One is the parking fund, the ARPA fund, the special asset forfeiture non-reverting fund, as well as the opioid restricted fund.
Thank you. There is a recommended action by the council. The memo.
Mr. President, I move to hear proposed ordinance 1909 for additional appropriations on first reading and schedule a public hearing and second reading for August 7th.
I second the motion.
Motion a second. Any discussion?
Yes, the only comment I would offer is if anyone was curious, the parking fund this is the authority to spend money that has come in. Additional.
Absolutely. All four of these funds have the cash to support the additional appropriation. It's kind of it's giving us the authority to spend the money that we have.
The DARE program that had been previously approved by the council for guest speakers to come in and expand to the high school program. So now this is when we get to see, we get over it.
Exactly. And Officer Grace asked today. We can spend the money. I said, oh no, we've got 2 weeks, so we've got to wait till April 7th. So.
That's why I was gonna try it first.
Well,
Okay,
we need the public hearing to that. Follow our rules. Public hearing.
very good. Any other comments? Then roll call, please.
Counselor Mellon. Yes. Counselor Tulowitzki.
Yes.
And Counselor Gardner.
Yes. No more new business. Under reports, we do have the July 4th parade winners in the business flow category, Eads Elementary School, Westminster, and Region Gaming Esports Center for first, second, and third. And then the decorated auto truck category is Home of Disposal, Centier Bank, and Strachan Van Til, first, second, and third. We give them congratulations for their awards. Any other portfolio reports from the council? If you're looking for things to do on Monday nights for the next 2 weeks, since there's no council meeting, Munster Civic Mondays is taking place at Centennial Park. Next week is Mr. Funny Man, and the following July 31st is the Northwest Indiana Symphony. And then back on first Monday in August 7th, we will have a regular town council and redevelopment commission.
I highly recommend the Symphony. I think we got a better price this year. But it is one of the primary contributions to the foundation.
Very good. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Second. The motion second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And meeting adjourned, and we'll move quickly into our redevelopment commission meeting. I want to get John Johnson from the school board here, so we will, I will open or call the redevelopment commission regular meeting on July 17th to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Schoon, Commissioner Mellon, present. Commissioner Tulowitzki,
Present.
Commissioner Kulturitis, Commissioner Gardner.
Present. Is there any people here, public, that would like to speak to the redevelopment commission at this time? Seeing none, we'll move into the consent agenda.
Ms. Brown, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Second motion?
There's a motion second, any discussion with regards to the consent agenda? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Mellon,
Yes.
Commissioner Tulowitzki.
Yes.
And Commissioner Gardner.
Yes. I see no old business, no new business, any reports?
Do we
Clerk
have,
Treasurer, miss.
Mr. President,
do we have new business? The Kenmara.
so the Kenmara Development Agreement is also an agreement with the redevelopment commission. It wasn't on the agenda tonight, but it's the same group of individuals. You have the same people in the crowd. I think you could approve that on under new business.
The same documentation as that was presented to council.
10 minutes ago, yeah.
Then I will add the new business item, which is the agreement, development 1A, development agreement with Kenmara to the redevelopment commission meeting agenda under new business. I would ask the council if they can remember and review that documentation.
Mr. Commission President, I move to approve the Kenmara Phase 1A development agreement.
Motion second, any discussion? If none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Mellon,
Yes.
Commissioner Tulowitzki.
Yes.
Commissioner Gardner.
Yes. Okay, then we'll move into reports. Any reports for the redevelopment commission? And any announcements? No announcements. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye. That meeting is adjourned. And we thank you all for attending tonight's meetings.
If they hurry, they could catch the last 20 minutes.